Now, this topic is, I think, a very big one. This is about the gearing in World of Warcraft, how it got implemented in Dragonflight, how it developed in Dragonflight, how it was transformed into this abomination of spiky bullshit and overly complicated things. Where, once again, I think the biggest argument for new players not understanding what the hell is going on is actually the gearing system. Story aside, immersion aside, fuck that. People, if they just want to play the game and they get into this whole crests and myth tracks and hero checks and the upgrades and all the restrictions there, it's a headache for a new player. Now, doubling on that, we go through what they have announced in regards to the mythic track upgrading. So hero track loot from Mythic Plus now drops at a maximum of 1 out of 6. It was 2 out of 6. And mid track has been extended to 6 steps. It was 4. So it takes longer to upgrade your mythic gear. Now, I'm not gonna try to talk for all players here, all right? I'm just gonna talk about, the players who are like me and Flame. I know there's a bunch of you in the chat as well. So we do mythic raiding, and we mostly strive to push keys to the level where we always get mid-track gear. Why? Because we want to gear fast, we want to progress fast, and get that next achievement, get that next boss, and so on and so on. You know the drill, you know how it works, right? Now, in Dragonflight, you kind of already felt like at some point as much as you enjoy doing Mythic Plus, and we do enjoy it, at some point, maybe a month into the season, if you're still progressing, you kind of get a little bit of a fatigue, and you're still not geared enough. This is the issue where you would target a specific item. For me, it was the trinket from Dawn of the Infamous, the mastery one. Mirror, yeah, and I never got it. And I never got it. But I did. You remember how many Dawn of the Infinites we did, and when we did it last season for our rogues, because we both wanted a nick of time. And Jesus Christ, so you get that fatigue, right? And you get that. And after you get your targeted item, then you have to push even more dungeons differently to upgrade that to get the resources.
That's like a totally different issue with the too many currencies.
We go into that issue today because on one hand, we've made a lot of videos talking about this. I think we made a videos about a video about the new player experience. We made a video about how this could be simplified. We even made videos when they introduced this back in 10.1, I believe it was 10.1 or 10.15.
The pre-patch for 10.1.
Yeah, so we did video on how trying to explain, because when they first introduced this, I don't know if you guys remember when they first introduced this whole crests and all of that. You remember how people even their communication needed even more communication on top of it to explain better, because their the initial presentation of it was so hard to grasp, right? And we tried to make a video trying to simplify. And even that was we still had questions, but how does that work again? So it was very overly complicated.
It felt like a slideshow presentation with 10 currencies.
Yeah, remember that shit?
Yeah.
We still had a lot of confused people.
We can still pull that video out, but it's we're no fans of the gearing. We understand that this is supposed to fix overall how you acquire items and how valuable an item is by the time it becomes obsolete. Which it's something that I might go into after we go over all of the things announced, but overall it's
not good, man. It's not good, and the fact that it's overly complicated. And listen, I think this is one of the biggest misses in the War Within, because they said that they will not touch the gearing system at all, and I feel.
But they did touch it, didn't they?
Well, they did touch it, but not in the good way, right?
Now
I'm referring conceptually, right? They don't want to drop this. They did mention before the announcement of the War Within that this system will be further iterated on, but they said that this, how it was developed, how it was implemented, this stays. And again, we should take the time to talk about it and its problems, because I feel it feels more of a race to gather all of the currencies in order to have this cryptic upgrade, and this for me kills the whole RPG element of it. The whole gearing thing should be much more fantasized, in my opinion. Now, as an avid RPG player, I love upgrading my gear, but through means that are not that cryptic or systematic, because you need this amount of crests, you need this amount of stones, you need this amount of shit, and then you get to the next step, but next step requires different amount of stones, different amounts of shit, and so on.
And the best part is that when you have too many stones and not enough shit, or too much shit and not enough stones.
Yeah, exactly.
It never feels like there's anything in between. It's always one or the other whenever you want to upgrade stuff.
You basically hit the nail on the toilet. So what I'm saying is, if you look at a game like Diablo, okay, I'm going to exemplify Diablo here. How do you upgrade your items there?
A success story now.
Well, yeah, the last season was a success story, but real small parenthesis. The whole tempering thing was good. It's still very RNG, but it felt much more fantasized because you were going to a blacksmith and you were putting things on it that you would need and make a build.
You got to choose. The difference is, one of the big differences with that system is that you got to choose what goes on the item. You got to choose what goes on the item, but now you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose now because you get the item with the already stat. What you're doing is just making that stat bigger.
Okay, I'm not going there. I'm not going into reforging stuff. No, I'm just saying like
but that's why that works, is because you have agency over what that item gives you.
That is fine, but after you made your tempering or whatever, you then have the masterworking stuff, which is basically upgrade your stuff.
Sure.
How you get that? You just do the content that you like. You get a couple of materials, and you got them. It's the same materials.
And you have like one thing that you need.
Yes, exactly.
Not two, and they drop.
My point.
The two different currencies is basically like a mobile game. They drop in different amounts from different content, so that it constantly keeps you in this hamster wheel loop of, you have so many crests now, but you don't have enough stones. Better do more dungeons. Oh, now you have too many stones and not enough crests. Better do more dungeons. So that's, the hamster wheel effect.
What do you know? It does resemble a lot of like mobile game stuff into it. And on top of all of this, it's unnecessarily complicated, very unnecessarily complicated. It's gear, man. It's like I cannot not stress this example. Like if you're gonna bring a brand new player, and this brand new player is your typical gamer who just cares about playing the game and pushing the content. Okay, he doesn't know WoW, but he's really interested on pushing the content. He will be interested to like get geared fast and push keys and get into mythic rating and all of that, dude.
That player will need a spreadsheet.
Yeah. Why? Why is that? I mean, come on, man. It's once again, it feels like this gearing system was like created specifically to like just entertain a specific part of this community, I would say.
I think people are using the proper term for it, and I found it hilarious. The sweaty community.
The sweaty For sure. It's again overly complicated, and the fact that in the War Within they're pushing this even more, and we kind of know that in the War Within in the first season, if we want to get to the same level we were back in Dragonflight, to like let's say in season 3 of Dragonflight, it will take basically double the amount of dungeons. Sure, you have mythic raiding going on, but not everybody mythic raids, right? So it's you this cannot. It feels like this kind of puts a little bit more value into mythic raiding, because you now need to do a lot more dungeons to get the gear, but mythic raiding
is at the same rate. This is an interesting discussion because obviously we've complained about gearing ever since Titan Forging, ever since Reforging, ever since War Forging.
Okay, let's get some clear out. The gearing system is way better than what we have
for
in
sure.
BFA. But remember BFA with the chest with one item?
but when they do this, when they add like extra like 6 out of 6 upgrade track, what this signals in my brain is that people just want to constantly feel like they're progressing their character, and this is like a Legion effect, but we've had that in Legion, and we know that's not.
Listen, I'm gonna go even further. It's an RPG effect. You want that sense of progression going forward.
We've had that in Legion, and I don't remember it being received very well. When you had the concordance of the Legion fall.
I know what you're talking about. It's very hard to deliver that in an MMO. This is the thing, right?
It's either always being able to feel like what you're doing will progress your character and its power, or versus I'm finally done with getting the stuff for my character, and now I get to do either the content and smash it, or play an alt, or redo the whole thing all over again. But it was always this dichotomy of whether or not you should always feel like something that you're doing is meaningful, or that you're finally done getting the things. In this case, items, you're fully maxed out with your BIS items, with your max eye level stuff, and now you can either keep pushing your content or actually gear an alt or play something else. So I feel like these two aspects of the game are being enjoyed by people, obviously by different people. So I don't know which one is better than the other, which one should win out. I feel like right now we're edging more towards we're done, let's play alts with the warband, with all of that stuff. They can definitely probably make the gearing a lot better if they made like the currency account wide, so it's not that big of an issue. And my personal opinion is that one of the things that might solve this the most is to make items upgradable past their track. So a hero item can become a myth track item by using the currency, so that you don't feel like you have to constantly loot all over again. But then they would have to add the Battle for Azeroth stuff, where if you loot the same item and you don't need it anymore, you can scrap it for crests and flightstones. There's so many ways that they can fix it.
I was waiting for you to say it. If you weren't going to say it, I was going to say it. Why don't you just let us destroy loot that we don't need for currency?
Or profession materials.
Something in that line. So if you're gonna keep this mess of a system, just give us an option to like get like the old gear that we had, just make us transform it into something to be able to use that on our new piece of gear and get move the upgrade wheel forward. But this would have been so much simpler, man. Like all of this, the champion track, the veteran track, the hero track, the mid track, all of that bullshit. Why does it have to be there? I remember a time where you would get gear with badges. And that was it. And the badge that you would get would be from the content you would do. If you want to get some, epic gear, you had to do some heroic rating or do some 200 rating arenas or something. So it was simple, and it was in the compartment of difficulty you were able to play
Perfect.
it. That was like the perfect solution. Now I understand that is pretty hard to get back into, but if we're gonna stick with this system, like through all of the expansions, come on, man, just give us an option to like salvage a lot of this gear that we're not gonna use.
So good. That's one of the benefits of what BFA actually brought us. They made everything not feel like garbage. Because if you're not gonna give us an option to recycle old gear, considering that you're flooding us with gear, at least let us sell it for more than 50 gold. Do you know how much a repair costs for one death?
Oh my God.
It's double that. So if you die in a boss fight in a raid progression, like 2 minutes in or like 1 minute in, it costs 100 gold to repair. I've done the math. It costs 100 gold to repair, and that's how much you get for an epic item if you sell it to a vendor, or how much you get for an armor. First of all, it kind of disconnects you from the whole concept of how valuable is your gear really.
Yeah.
And then it feels like it feels so bad to have to sell epics to the vendor, and that just made me have enchanting on all of my characters, just to disenchant them and have something valuable out of that.
A lot of people are in your shoes, I'm sure. Like a lot of people took enchanting just for that, to have it. It goes to the trash. And it's sad. Now, once again, I think this is like the bare minimum solution they could have for this mess of a gearing system they introduced in Dragonflight. Again, it's way better than what we had in BFA. It's way better than what we had in Shadowlands.
But it doesn't have to stop here.
But yeah, let's.
It's first of all not what people asked for. It's kind of like
what we believe.
I asked for an apple, you gave me a pear, but it's still a fruit, right?
Yeah,
it's better than before.
It's sort of similar, but
it's not
really.
So okay, fine. We're definitely getting closer. But how about not sticking to 7 currencies with 8 different item tracks?
And iterating on it does not mean you're just going to extend the mid track of it. Okay,
add more.
So it's ridiculous. So enough about that. I think we made ourselves pretty clear here. I'm going to be interested to see what people think at the end of the show regarding this.